Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Jalen.
And we're back for another morning after reality recap. Before we get into it, we do want to ask that if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up or subscribe.
Yes.
We had one subscriber on our first video, and since then it's been a little dry. So we appreciate that. But back to business. We are here the morning after Marriage Bootcamp Hip Hop Edition, episode
6. Yes.
So we are following up after Vado's chokeout. Okay.
Incidents.
Yes. Everybody's in disbelief. They are in shock at what has happened. We're seeing their reactions. You have anything you want to say about that?
Well, I don't think I'm going to have a popular opinion on it, to be honest. I'm on Vado's side.
Okay.
After seeing the whole beginning of this episode, after, the chokeout, I guess my first thought was, if I understand it goes back to men shouldn't be putting their hands on women, we know this. But I also feel like as a woman, if you're going to put your hands on a man or throw apples at a man, you can't be surprised if you get a consequence. Not saying the consequence is right, but at the end of the day, men are still human as well, and people are gonna have their limits. And I feel like when he was, right after they pulled him, Dr. Ish pulled him back, and he was kind of like, she kept egging me. And it's true, like, who knows what happened before they got there, but we saw episode 1, she was throwing stuff. Then we saw this happen again. And then I thought about it again, like, he's right, because even when they sat down for evaluation or whatever they called it, she was like putting the blame on him, like, you're making me do these things. But not once did she apologize. I feel like her saying maybe I should have done this or something would have ended up differently. But the fact that she was very much so like, this is your fault.
And watching it and taking my own little notes, I kind of was thinking back to last week, and we kind of hit it on the head when we were saying like what his issues were. Fruit to the face.
Yes.
Disrespected in front of people on TV.
Right.
That was an issue for him. She didn't apologize. And not only did she not apologize, but she continued to go on and on about what he was doing to her, making her, So all of that,
It had to boil up.
But Dr. Ish, and it goes back also to kind of what I was touching on, that man strength and woman strength thing.
Yes.
Because Vado tells Dr. Ish, she threw apples in my face. But Dr. Ish says, I don't care if it was 2 fists.
Right.
You can never do that. And mind you, he didn't actually hit her. Well, he said choke. So
right. I watched it
I keep
again.
thinking it wasn't a choke. I keep thinking he grabbed her shoulders tight and maybe shook her.
I tried to look and it looked too close. It looked like he tried to choke.
We're not gonna make it like he choked. But yeah, Dr. Ish is like, you can never do that. So I guess that's man's strength is different from a woman's.
Right.
They have to keep that in mind. So it's not fair. I had to note that it's not a fair
thing. It's not.
But men and women are not the same. So when a man does that, it is on another level.
And then I thought, thinking about it that way. Go ahead. What?
I was gonna say something real quick, which was what I was asking last week. Should he have just thrown the fruit back?
Clearly. Okay, so because you say that, I don't like how they approached him in the end when he had to leave or told him to leave, because the biggest thing was violence is not a thing in the house. Violence is not a thing in the house. And my thing was, what she did wasn't violent. I mean, I understand it's a bigger deal what he did because he's a man, but at the same time, it's like, what are her consequences?
Yeah, everybody pretty much dismissed her.
She dismissed herself, and I didn't like that. Like the whole behind the scene confession, everything. She never once said I should have done it. Right.
This is true.
So,
but with all the ladies except Phaedra, I heard her mention one time, she can't be throwing apples at people. She was the only one.
Once.
And now you are feeling Phaedra.
I went like this for 2 seconds.
She even said something else that I was like, that's a good point. When they was ready to kick him out, Phaedra said maybe it should be based on what Tahiry would want to do. Like if she would want him
it's
to
her
stay.
choice, right?
Yeah,
I didn't like how they made it seem like he was. I don't know. I don't like how they made it seem like he was the only one and such the like villain and things.
Yeah, like they said, I don't care if you threw apples, bananas. That is not acceptable.
Right.
So they made it like he was all wrong. He did everything.
Yes.
Also, when he went to talk to Dr. Ish, and Dr. Ish put him in a trick bag. So he started off and said, she brought that out of him. She brought me out of my character. Dr. said, oh, you're saying she made you do it.
Oh, right. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, wait, no.
Dr. Ish like, so he's saying,
But I understood that. Like,
oh, wow, he messing up again. Because he showed remorse. So, he was like, I lost it.
Exactly. Oh, so, I don't know. So, after this whole thing came out that he did choke her out, he actually did post an apology on Instagram.
Okay, when it aired.
Yes.
Okay.
He did post an apology. Now, at the end of the apology, he did say, so he said, I apologize to women. I apologize for, I shouldn't have done it. In the very end, he says, but y'all ladies got to keep y'all hands to yourself. So, I know a lot of people were probably like, you just voided your whole apology. But me personally was like, yes. I see your point. You're human. You have limits. I think,
Yeah, it's one of those situations.
Yes, that's a very controversial. People are going to have their opinions,
But in the end, the first night he has to sleep away in the office. And then they decide he's going to go home and talk to the judge, the production team. And they feel that keeping him in the house would be kind of condoning what he did, or making it seem like you can recover easily. It's not anything major, so they send him home.
Yes. Oh, one more thing. A point that Phaedra made in I don't know what you call those little private interview things. She did say, as a lawyer, she saw the point of view of him being the doctor he was, and then showing like the safety of the show. And I feel like that probably did have a lot to do with the decision. I feel like behind the scenes is probably more of a what should they do in the sense of to make it look right.
Right.
Does that sound right?
I think they're concerned about their image too.
Right, their image. That's
they would be seen if they kept somebody.
Exactly. Which I felt like, again, if he sat down, even if he said go to a hotel, he should have sat both of them down. That's how I was feeling. And maybe said, you were wrong and you were wrong. And we're separating you guys. Maybe not kicking you out and I feel bad for you, but more of, we just need you guys to be separate. If that makes sense. Okay, but Vado took all the heat on that one. But he is gone, and I suspected he would be gone because I didn't see him in the previews last week. Right. You did say that.
So he is out of there. Maybe we can mention real quickly how Tahiry does talk to Dr. Ish, and she opens up about some past issues of violence she's had from men. Initially, I was thinking she was in a couple relationships that were, violent, but then she later on explains that she was in one relationship. The other instances were
men outside
doing things they shouldn't have been. But that was sad to hear. You never know what somebody's been through.
But going through that, I would think, then why are you doing it?
Well, I'm throwing out.
You know how it feels. You shouldn't be doing it to another human being.
But see, like you said, she's human. You forget sometimes. Okay, so what's the next happenings?
The next scene after they kept the Vado thing was corrupt, kind of going back to drinking some.
Yeah, we see he's not just on the beer.
And my first thought was like, or my really only thought was, I understand they're not a rehab place, but why don't they just take alcohol at the house in general? For a place that's supposed to be meant to get people to get, lives together in general, why did they even put it in the house? Not just because of the sake of him, but just in
general,
all together. Because that was just mentioned with the Vado thing. Because Tahiry even said like he had drinks or whatever, But it's just in general, why not just take it out the house so people can have right mindsets to do what they're there to do?
And maybe in a real facility of some sort, they wouldn't have alcohol.
Right.
But they might want alcohol there. They might have requested it, or they want alcohol so things to get things can happen
to make it reality TV.
Exactly. All right. So after all that is done, we get to the next challenge, which is the right frame of mind.
Yes.
WRIT.
I noticed. Yes.
Okay, so the couples have to, looks like on a picture frame type of situation, they write down the things that they dislike about themselves. You have something to say about that?
Not really. It was just funny. It was just a funny part.
I know what you're going to say, probably. Willie?
Put the shirt on.
Yes, everybody, they write about. A lot of it's based on, behaviors or certain attitudes they have that they would want to change.
Which is hard. That would be hard. I can see why that would be hard.
To do like their flaws, and have to announce them in front of everybody. Yeah. Corrupt talks about, his ignorance. He doesn't like how ignorant he is. Tahiry mentions how she doesn't like her nose because it's crooked from her domestic violence issues, so on and so forth. And so in the confessional, him and Shonda, he's like, he didn't say it turned out to be a shirt.
Yes, right. I'm sorry. Yes,
that they had to wear. And so Willie said, I didn't believe it's hard to wear a shirt, that says all this, and people gonna read it. And Shonda's like,
you could cover yours with a belt.
What you talking? Where you can't even see yours? And then she had all his stuff right in the bottom corner right here. They had me laughing.
My first thought was like, when you're in like elementary school or you're doing arts crowd, you just want to tell the teacher so bad, can I just redo mine? You see everybody else and then you want a new one.
Shit. He complaining about he didn't want to redo that.
But they should have made him at least so it could be a fair thing.
Next exercise is the punch and release. So they are all taking their anger, their aggression out on this dummy, right? I have something I want to point out about it, but what did you want to say anything?
What are you going to point out?
So first I'm going to point out, Phaedra had me cracking up how she dancing around.
I'm going to say the sound effects they gave her.
She ain't even playing it. She ain't in the show.
Told you. But I will say it's the first time that you see her break down something, like break down a wall or break out of her wall. Like she'd actually
like saying where her flaws are.
Right. Being real about something. Like I feel like the whole show she's kind of been just making it by. But for once she's actually like
gotta participate.
Right. Not like she had much of a choice, I guess, because she had to, but
overachieving. It was funny. Now, also, I seen Willie and Devon. I said they trying to show each other.
Right. Like I said, they're just doing too much.
Willie said, "You called me up good last time. This is what I'm really working with." And then even the production, they asked Devon, so what'd you think about it?
And he was like, nothing. I never felt nothing.
So after that, we hear Corrupt talking with Tahiry, I think, and maybe Shonda. He opens up about his mom's passing, how that's been difficult. And he really does love Tony. He says how, she's been like, what's brought him happiness in spite of that.
Right.
But, he don't be doing it right. And he admitted that also.
Yes. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like, what is the problem? Like, I feel like there's many men where it's like, you have a good woman, you want to keep her,
but you still messing
up.
But
what is it? Not even just his drinking, just he's had being loyal, treating her right. Like, what makes it so complicated if that's what is keeping you happy or whatever the case may be?
Guess it's that human factor, Sometimes you mess up. I don't know. Well, the episode ends with Tony deciding to go into Corrupt's phone. Excuse me. When he's asleep.
Yes.
When I seen that, I was like, ooh. I don't know if everybody's been there before, but I've looked through a photo tonight and your heart be racing, racing.
But it's that women intuition.
I haven't done it in a very long time. But even seeing that, I just brought up that like, do
feeling.
But So apparently she sees in the call log that he has been talking to the, they call her the homeless artist.
Yes.
I don't know. And so it ends there. We don't see her reaction. But the preview makes it look like she has a big reaction and does something.
Yes.
So we gonna wait to see next week what that's about.
Yes.
Anything else we want to say about this episode?
I don't think so.
I think we hit everything on the head. But we would really love if y'all could let us know what y'all think about the episode or about what we said.
Please comment.
We want this to be like an interactive kind of thing. So that'd be great. So we will be back. We got little kitties in the background here. You know, it's morning time. They up. But we will be back next week. Same time, same day. Aside from that, though, we're going to review Love After Lockup
Tomorrow.
That comes on tomorrow. No,
come on tonight.
Come on tonight. We're gonna have a video tomorrow. We're trying to keep this going. So again, like, subscribe, comment, all of that, and that's it.
All right.
Bye.